Have you ever caught yourself lying awake at night, replaying a conversation, wondering what someone thinks about you? Do you hesitate to take action because you fear judgment? Why do we waste so much energy worrying about what others think, when the truth is, no one really cares as much as we believe? Think about this. Imagine walking into a crowded room. You feel like everyone is watching, analyzing your every move. But in reality, each person is wrapped up in their own thoughts, their own worries, their own lives. Just like you, they are too busy thinking about themselves to spend much time judging you. And yet, we overthink, we stress, we hesitate. All because we believe we are constantly being watched. Here's a simple example. You trip on the sidewalk. In that moment, you feel embarrassed, as if the whole world has seen your mistake. But a minute later, people walk past without a second thought. Why? Because their minds have already moved on. No one is sitting there replaying your stumble. It's only you who holds on to it. Welcome to Wisdom Woven. If you find yourself trapped in overthinking, this video is for you. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us bring you more life-changing wisdom. Now, let's get into it. Overthinking is one of the biggest obstacles to inner peace. It keeps you stuck in your mind, worrying about things that don't matter. Buddhism teaches that attachment to thoughts, to opinions, to the illusion of self-importance is the root of suffering. The truth is, the world is not as focused on you as you think. In Buddhism, the concept of anatta, or no self, explains that our identity is not fixed. We are constantly changing, and so are the people around us. What someone thinks about you today might change tomorrow. So why waste time worrying about it? Buddha once said, "You only lose what you cling to." The more you cling to the idea that others care deeply about your every move, the more you suffer. Letting go of this illusion is the first step toward freedom. Most people are too busy dealing with their own struggles to obsess over yours. Everyone has their own worries, their own fears. The coworker you think is judging you, they're probably worrying about how they look. The stranger you passed on the street, they're lost in their own world. So what's the solution? Awareness. The moment you recognize that your thoughts are just that, thoughts, you can begin to break free. Observe your mind. Notice when it spirals into overthinking, and then let it go. You don't have to impress anyone. You don't have to live up to imagined expectations. You just have to be. And when you finally stop overthinking, life becomes lighter. You move forward without fear. You embrace the present moment. Because in the end, the only person who truly cares about your thoughts is you. The root of suffering, attachment, and ego. Sit down. Breathe. Now, let me ask you, why do you suffer? Is it because of what others say? Is it because life is unfair? Or is it because you are holding on to something that was never meant to stay? Most people do not realize this, but suffering does not come from the outside world. It comes from within. It comes from attachment. Attachment to thoughts, to opinions, to expectations. You believe things should be a certain way. You believe people should treat you with kindness. You believe life should be fair. But when reality does not match your expectations, you suffer. Think about it. You get a compliment, and you feel happy. You get criticized, and you feel miserable. Why? Because you are attached to the idea of being liked. You want approval. You want recognition. But the world does not work according to your desires. And when life moves in a different direction, your mind resists. This is suffering. Let me tell you a story. A man once came to the Buddha, angry and frustrated. He said, "Master, people insult me. They disrespect me. How do I stop feeling hurt?" The Buddha smiled and asked, "If someone offers you a gift, but you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man replied, "To the person who offered it, of course." The Buddha nodded. "Then why do you accept their insults? If you do not take them, they remain with the one who gave them." Do you see? Your suffering is not caused by the words of others. It is caused by your attachment to their words. You take them in, you hold on to them, you make them part of you. But if you let them pass, they are powerless. Ego is the source of this attachment. The ego says, "I am important. I matter. People should respect me." But the ego is an illusion. It is a story you tell yourself. It is not real, and the more you feed it, the more you suffer. Think about a river. It flows without resistance. It does not try to hold on to any drop of water. It simply moves. But what happens when a rock stands in its way? The water crashes against it, struggling to pass. This is what happens when you resist life. You become the rock, fighting against the flow, trying to control what cannot be controlled. A mind that clings will always be disturbed. A mind that lets go will always be free. You attach yourself to ideas. This is mine. This is who I am. This is how things should be. But when life takes them away, you feel lost. You believe you have lost a part of yourself. But tell me, were they ever really yours? A man builds a sandcastle by the shore. He spends hours shaping it, perfecting every detail. But when the tide comes in, it washes everything away. He cries, he shouts, "My castle, my hard work." But the ocean does not care. The waves do not stop. Now, another man builds a sandcastle. He enjoys the process. He shapes it with love, but he knows the truth. The tide will come. The waves will take it away. And when they do, he simply smiles. He does not suffer, because he was never attached. Which man are you? Look at your life. You chase things, money, status, relationships, thinking they will bring happiness. But what happens when you lose them? Pain, grief, fear, not because of the loss itself, but because you believe they belong to you. The truth is, everything you hold on to will eventually slip away. People change. Situations change. Your own mind changes. Nothing is permanent. And yet, you cling. You try to freeze life in place. You want control. But control is an illusion. Imagine holding a handful of sand. If you squeeze too tightly, the grains slip through your fingers. But if you hold it gently, it remains. This is how life works. When you force things, they escape. When you let go, they stay on their own. So what is the solution? Detachment. Not indifference. Detachment. Indifference is cold. It says, "I do not care." But detachment is wise. It says, "I will enjoy this moment, but I will not cling to it. I will love, but I will not possess. I will strive, but I will not be ruled by the outcome." A person who is attached says, "I must win, or I will be miserable." A detached person says, "I will do my best, but if I lose, I will be at peace." A person who is attached says, "I need this person to stay in my life, or I will break." A detached person says, "I am grateful for this connection, but if they must go, I will let them." Do you see the difference? Buddhism teaches that true freedom comes when you stop clinging, when you stop expecting life to be a certain way, when you stop resisting what is. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to? What expectations are making me suffer? What fears keep me trapped? Now, imagine letting them go. No one can take your peace unless you give it away. No one can make you suffer unless you allow it. Your pain is not in what happens to you, but in how tightly you hold on. Life will continue with or without your approval. People will come and go. Situations will change. And you must learn to flow. So today, begin the practice of letting go. Do not hold on to praise or criticism. Do not cling to how things should be. Simply be. Because the moment you release your grip, you are free. The power of impermanence. Nothing lasts forever. Listen carefully. Everything you know, everything you love, everything you fear, it will all change. Nothing stays the same. Not your happiness, not your pain, not even you. Think about it. Have you ever had a moment of pure joy? Maybe a time when you laughed with friends, felt the warmth of the sun, or achieved something great. It felt amazing, but did it last forever? No. That moment passed, just like every other moment in your life. Now, what about pain? A time when you were heartbroken, lost, or struggling. It felt endless, didn't it? Like you would never escape? But here you are, still moving forward. That pain, too, faded. Because nothing, no feeling, no situation, can remain the same. This is impermanence. And once you truly understand it, your suffering will begin to disappear. The river that never stays the same. Imagine a river. You step into it, feeling the cool water rush past your feet. You stand there for a moment and then step out. Now, if you step back in, is it the same river? No. The water has already flowed on, replaced by new currents. The river you stepped into before no longer exists. Life is the same. Every second, things shift. The world around you is moving, changing. The people you know are growing older. Your body is not the same as it was yesterday. Even the thoughts in your mind, what you worry about today, may be forgotten tomorrow. Yet, we fight change. We cling to the past, afraid to let go. We fear the future, afraid of what might come. And in doing so, we create our own suffering. Why we struggle with change? The reason people suffer is simple. They want things to stay. They want love to last forever. They want happiness to be permanent. They want people to remain the same. But life does not work that way. Everything, even the things you treasure most, will change. A flower blooms, then withers. The seasons shift. A child grows into an adult. Relationships begin and end. Nothing can be held forever. The tighter you cling, the more pain you feel. Imagine holding onto sand. If you grab it gently, it rests in your palm. But if you squeeze it tightly, it slips through your fingers. This is the nature of life. The more you try to control it, the more you suffer. The more you let it flow, the more peace you will find. The beauty of letting go. But wait, if nothing lasts, does that mean nothing matters? No. In fact, it means everything is even more precious. A sunset is beautiful because it doesn't last. A moment of laughter is special because it is fleeting. Even pain has meaning because it reminds you that you are alive. Buddhism teaches us not to fear impermanence, but to embrace it. When you understand that everything changes, you stop being afraid of losing things. Instead, you start appreciating them while they are here. Enjoy the love you have now. Appreciate the moments of joy now. Accept the pain, knowing it will pass. Imagine if you lived without fearing change. If you stopped dreading the future. If you no longer clung to the past. How free would you feel? How light? The story of the broken cup. A Zen master once held up a cup and said, "To me, this cup is already broken." His students looked at him, confused. The cup was perfectly fine, but the master smiled and continued, "I know that one day it will fall, crack, and no longer be here. Because of that, I enjoy it fully now. I appreciate its beauty now. And when it breaks, I will not be sad, because I always knew this moment would come." This is how you must see life. Everything you hold dear, your possessions, your relationships, your very self, is like that cup. One day, they will change, break, or disappear. But instead of fearing this truth, use it. Love deeply now. Enjoy life now. Accept change now, because clinging will only bring pain, but awareness will bring peace. Accepting change brings freedom. The moment you stop resisting change, you become free. You no longer waste energy fighting what you cannot control. Instead, you learn to flow with life, like a leaf on the river. If someone leaves, let them go. If something ends, accept it. If you fail, know that failure, too, is temporary. Because nothing lasts forever, and that is not a curse. It is a blessing. Once you realize this, you will start living fully, without fear, without regret. And in that moment, true peace will begin. The art of letting go, freedom from overthinking. You are trapped in your own mind. A single thought arrives, and instead of letting it pass, you hold on to it. You twist it, turn it, examine it from every angle. It grows bigger, heavier, until it takes over everything. Why did they say that? What if I made a mistake? What will they think of me? The mind keeps spinning, but where does it take you? Nowhere. Overthinking is like carrying a heavy bag everywhere you go. It slows you down, tires you out, and makes every step harder than it needs to be. But here's the secret. This bag, you're the one holding it, and you can put it down anytime you choose. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from attachment. Not just attachment to things, but attachment to thoughts. You don't suffer because of what happens. You suffer because you refuse to let go of what happens. The past is already gone, yet you carry it. The future isn't here yet, but you worry about it. You live inside a storm of thoughts, never realizing that you are the one creating the storm. Imagine this. You are standing by a river. The water flows smoothly, carrying leaves and twigs downstream. Your thoughts are like those leaves. They come, they go. Some stay for a moment, then drift away. But what happens when you reach into the river, grab a leaf, and refuse to let go? You fight against the current. You struggle. The flow of life continues, but you remain stuck. Let go. It sounds so simple, yet the mind resists. But what if I need this thought? What if I need to be right? What if I need to control this? But do you? Or is it just fear speaking? The fear of losing control, the fear of uncertainty, the fear that if you stop thinking, something will go wrong. But here's the truth. Holding on doesn't bring peace. It only brings exhaustion. A man once came to the Buddha, troubled by a problem. My mind won't stop, he said. I keep thinking, worrying, analyzing. How do I make it stop? The Buddha smiled and asked, have you ever heard of a monkey trapped in a cage? Yes, the man replied. The Buddha continued, if you open the door, what happens? The monkey runs free. Buddha nodded. Then why do you keep holding the door shut? Your mind is the cage. Your thoughts are the monkey. The moment you open the door, when you stop clinging to every little worry, you are free. Think about the last time you obsessed over something that didn't matter in the end. A conversation that didn't go as planned. A decision you regretted. A moment of embarrassment that replayed in your head over and over. Now look at where you are today. Did all that thinking change anything? Or did life move on, with or without your worries? Buddhism teaches us to observe our thoughts, not become them. A thought appears? Watch it. See it for what it is, just a passing cloud in the sky of your mind. No cloud stays forever. The sky does not hold on. Why should you? The great Zen master, Linji, once said, let go, and the river will carry you. You don't have to control everything. You don't have to figure it all out. Life will move, things will change, people will come and go, whether you overthink it or not. So what can you do? How do you stop this endless cycle of thoughts? First, take a deep breath. Right now, feel the air enter your lungs. Feel the moment as it is. Not the past, not the future, just now. Then, ask yourself, what am I holding on to? Is it a mistake? A memory? A fear? Whatever it is, see it, accept it, and then let it go. Imagine dropping that heavy back. Imagine opening your hands and releasing the leaf into the river. Somewhere inside you, there is a quiet place. A place that doesn't worry, doesn't overthink, doesn't cling. It is always there, waiting for you to return. You don't need to do anything to find it. You only need to stop holding on to what pulls you away from it. Let go of the need to be right. Let go of the need to control. Let go of the need to replay the past. Let go of the fear of what others think. And in that space, you will find freedom, mindfulness, living in the present moment. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, feel the air enter your lungs. Listen to the sounds around you. Right now, in this very moment, nothing is missing. Nothing is broken. Nothing needs to be different. This is mindfulness. This is peace. But tell me, where is your mind right now? Are you truly here, listening? Or is your mind somewhere else, thinking about the past, planning for the future, worrying about something that hasn't even happened? The mind is restless, always running, always searching, never satisfied. But why? Why do we let it control us? Imagine this. You are walking in a beautiful garden, but instead of looking at the flowers, instead of feeling the sun on your skin, your mind is busy thinking about work, about something someone said, about what you have to do later. You are physically there, but mentally, you are lost. And because of this, you miss the beauty in front of you. This is how most people live. They exist, but they do not truly experience life. The past is gone. You cannot touch it. You cannot change it. Yet, how often do we replay old memories, old regrets, old mistakes? We hold on to them as if they define us, as if they are still happening. But they are just shadows, echoes of moments that no longer exist. Why suffer over something that is no longer real? And the future? The future is not here yet. It is just a story in your mind, a collection of fears and hopes, of what-ifs and maybes. You plan, you worry, you chase things that might never happen, and in doing so, you forget to live now. The present moment is all there is. It is the only thing that is real. Everything else is just thoughts. Have you ever noticed how peaceful children are? They do not think about yesterday. They do not worry about tomorrow. They simply play, they laugh, they explore. They are fully present in whatever they do. This is why they are happy. This is why they are free. Somewhere along the way, we forget this simple truth. But you can return to it. Right now, this very second. Try this. Take a deep breath. And as you do, pay attention. Feel the air move through your nose. Feel your chest rise and fall. Listen to the silence between sounds. Right now, there is no past, no future. Just this breath. Just this moment. Mindfulness is not something you have to learn. It is something you already have. It is your natural state. It is the mind that pulls you away from it, tricking you into thinking that peace is somewhere else, that happiness is in the next achievement, the next success, the next big thing. But what if I told you, happiness is already here, that you do not need to chase it, that you only need to stop and see it? Buddha once said, do not dwell on the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. This is the key to freedom. Think about how many moments you have wasted worrying about things that never happened. How many days were ruined by thoughts that did not even come true? The mind is like a wild horse, running in every direction, dragging you with it. But you are not the mind. You are the one watching the mind. You can choose to let it run, or you can take back control. Mindfulness is the practice of coming back to reality again and again. You do not have to escape your thoughts. You do not have to fight them. Simply watch them, like clouds passing in the sky. They come and go, but you remain still. Try this. The next time you eat, slow down. Notice the taste, the texture, the warmth or coolness of the food. Feel it on your tongue. Chew slowly. Experience it fully. You will realize you have never truly eaten before. Your mind was always somewhere else. But when you are present, even the simplest things become beautiful. The next time you walk, feel the ground beneath your feet. Hear the rhythm of your steps. Look at the colors around you. Smell the air. This is mindfulness. This is life. When you drink tea, just drink tea. When you listen, just listen. When you breathe, just breathe. Do not rush to the next moment. Stay here. Some people say, but Zen Master, my mind is always thinking. How do I stop it? You do not need to stop your thoughts. You only need to stop believing them. Watch them, but do not hold on to them. Let them come and let them go, like waves on the ocean. And what happens when you do this? Peace, silence, a deep, unshakable calm. The world does not change, but you change. You become lighter, freer. You stop reacting to every little thing. You stop taking everything so seriously. You stop being trapped by your own mind. Look around you. Right now, look at the details, the way the light falls, the way your breath moves, the way you feel. This moment is enough. You do not need more. You do not need to escape. Everything you are looking for is already here. Mindfulness is not just a practice. It is a way of being, a way of seeing the world, a way of coming home to yourself. And the best part? It is always available to you. Right now, this moment, and the next, and the next. So, tell me, are you truly here? Or is your mind somewhere else? Emptiness and the self. Understanding anatta. Sit down, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, who are you? Are you your name, your body, your thoughts? If you take all of these things away, what is left? You might say, I am me. But who is me? Where does it begin, and where does it end? The truth is there is no fixed self. The person you were 5 years ago is not the same person you are today. Your body has changed. Your thoughts have changed. Your beliefs, your feelings, your experiences. Everything has shifted, moment by moment. Buddhism teaches this as anatta, the idea that the self is an illusion. You are not a solid, unchanging thing. You are like a river, always flowing, always shifting. But the mind tricks you. It makes you believe you are something permanent, something separate from the rest of the world. And this belief? It is the root of suffering. Think about a candle's flame. It burns, it flickers, it moves. But is it ever the same flame from one moment to the next? No. The flame is always changing, yet it seems continuous. This is what your self is like. A moving, changing process, never fixed, never still. And yet, people spend their whole lives protecting this illusion. They say, "This is who I am. This is my identity." But what happens when something threatens that identity? They suffer. If someone criticizes them, they feel pain. If they lose something they thought defined them, they feel lost. But what if they understood the truth? What if they realized there is nothing to protect? Imagine carrying a heavy backpack. Inside, there are labels: your name, your job, your reputation, your past, your opinions, your fears. You hold on tightly, afraid to let go. But what happens when you drop the backpack? The weight disappears. Suddenly, you are free. This is what happens when you stop clinging to the illusion of self. The mind will resist. It will say, "But if I am not myself, then who am I?" And this is where true wisdom begins. You are not a single thing. You are everything and nothing at the same time. You are not separate from the universe. You are part of it, just as a wave is part of the ocean. A wave rises, moves, and disappears. But did it ever truly exist as something separate? No. It was never apart from the ocean. And when it fades, does the ocean grieve? No, because the wave was never lost. It was only returning to what it always was. The same is true for you. You are not separate. You are not fixed. You are simply here, moving, experiencing, and returning to the flow of life. So why hold on? Why fight against the nature of things? The more you cling to who you think you are, the more suffering you create. You become trapped in expectations. You fear change. You take everything personally, as if the world is attacking you. But the world is not attacking you. The world just is. Think about the sky. It does not hold onto the clouds. The clouds come and go, changing shape, moving with the wind. The sky does not cry when a cloud disappears. It simply allows. This is how you must live. Let your thoughts come and go. Let your emotions rise and fall. Do not cling. Do not resist. Just observe. But what about happiness? What about sadness? What about love? Should we not feel anything? No. Feel everything, but do not attach. Love fully, but do not try to own love. Experience joy, but do not try to hold on to joy. Everything moves, and that is the beauty of life. A flower blooms, and then it withers. But does the flower cry for its lost petals? No. It simply exists, for as long as it is meant to. So why do you fear change? Why do you fear loss? Why do you fear the natural flow of things? Because the mind believes in a self that must be protected. But this self does not truly exist. A Zen master once held up a cup and said, "To me, this cup is already broken." His students were confused. The cup was perfectly fine, but the master smiled and said, "One day, it will fall. One day, it will shatter." To see it as already broken is to understand its true nature. This is the wisdom of emptiness. Everything is already gone. The moment you hold it, it is slipping away. Your youth, your possessions, your thoughts, your identity, all are passing. And when you truly understand this, you stop clinging. You stop suffering. You stop fearing. Instead, you start living. You stop overthinking what others think of you, because you realize there is no fixed you to be judged. You stop worrying about losing things, because you understand you never really own them to begin with. You stop resisting life, because you see it is all just passing clouds in an open sky. So breathe. Let go. Stop taking everything so seriously. You are not a solid thing, trapped in time. You are movement. You are experience. You are here. And that is enough. The middle way, balance in thought, in action. You have come far on this path. You have begun to see that the world does not revolve around you, that overthinking is a prison of the mind. But now, a question arises. If we stop caring too much, if we let go of attachments, should we just stop caring about everything? Should we live without emotions, without thoughts, without effort? No, that is not the way. That is not wisdom. The Buddha taught the middle way, a path between extremes. Not too much, not too little. Not clinging, not rejecting. A life of balance, where the mind is neither lost in obsession nor drowned in indifference. Imagine a string on a musical instrument. If it is too tight, it will snap. If it is too loose, it will make no sound. But when it is tuned just right, it creates beautiful music. Your mind is the same. If you care too much, you suffer. Every word, every action, every thought becomes a heavy burden. But if you care too little, you become numb, disconnected from life itself. Neither extreme brings peace. The true path is in the middle, where you walk with awareness, where you care, but not too much. Think of a river. If it flows too fast, it destroys everything in its path. If it moves too slowly, it becomes stagnant, lifeless. But when it flows steadily, it nourishes all that surrounds it. Your thoughts should be like that river, not rushing with anxiety, not stuck in stillness, but flowing with ease. Some people think that being detached means not feeling anything, not loving, not engaging. But that is not true detachment. True detachment is not about shutting yourself off. It is about not being controlled by your thoughts and emotions. You can love without attachment. You can work without obsession. You can think without overthinking. Let me tell you a story. A man once came to the Buddha, troubled by the conflicts in his mind. He said, "I am always torn between doing too much and doing too little. When I try hard, I burn out. When I stop trying, I feel lost. What should I do?" The Buddha smiled and asked, "Do you play a musical instrument?" "Yes," the man replied. "Then tell me," the Buddha said, "what happens when the strings are too tight?" "They break," the man answered. "And when they are too loose?" "They make no sound." Then, the Buddha said, "Find the balance. That is the way. This is the secret, balance in all things. When you speak, speak with purpose, but do not overthink every word. When you act, act with intent, but do not exhaust yourself with perfection. When you feel, feel deeply, but do not be consumed by emotions. Look at nature. The sun does not shine too brightly, or it would burn the earth. The rain does not fall endlessly, or it would flood the land. The seasons do not rush, or life would collapse. Everything moves in harmony, in rhythm. This is the way of balance, the way of the middle path. But how do you walk this path in daily life? How do you stop yourself from falling into extremes? First, become aware. Notice when you are clinging too tightly to an idea, a thought, a desire. Ask yourself, does this truly matter? Will this thought bring peace, or will it bring suffering? If it brings suffering, loosen your grip. Let it go. Next, observe your actions. Are you pushing yourself too hard, expecting too much? Or are you holding back, avoiding effort? Find the middle. Give your best, but do not destroy yourself in the process. And finally, watch your emotions. Do not suppress them, but do not let them control you. Feel sadness, but do not become sadness. Feel joy, but do not chase it endlessly. Every emotion comes and goes, like waves in the ocean. Let them rise, let them fall. Be the ocean, not the wave. The middle way is not just a philosophy. It is a way of living, a way of thinking, a way of being. When you find this balance, life becomes lighter. You stop swinging between extremes. You stop worrying too much, caring too much, trying too much. You simply live in harmony with yourself and the world. Walk this path, and you will know peace. Detachment versus indifference, finding the right path. Listen carefully. Many people misunderstand what it means to let go. They think detachment means not caring at all. They think it means becoming cold, emotionless, distant. But that is not detachment. That is indifference. And indifference is not the path to peace. It is the path to emptiness, to a life without meaning. Detachment is not about running away from the world. It is about being in the world, but not being controlled by it. It is about experiencing life fully, but not being a prisoner to emotions, opinions, or attachments. A river flows effortlessly, touching everything in its path, but never holding on to anything. This is detachment. Imagine holding a handful of sand. If you grip it tightly, the sand slips through your fingers. But if you hold it gently, with an open palm, it stays. This is how you should hold life, hold people, hold experiences, with an open palm, not a clenched fist. But many people go to the extreme. They think, if I must not cling, then I will not care at all. And so they shut down. They become indifferent. But what happens to a tree that does not bend with the wind? It breaks. Indifference is not strength. It is fear disguised as wisdom. A man once asked the Buddha, "Should I love nothing?" The Buddha smiled and said, "Love, but do not cling." To love without attachment is the highest form of love. To experience life without being trapped by it, that is true freedom. Think about the sun. It gives warmth to everyone. It shines on all, without asking for anything in return. It does not hold back, but it is also not attached. It simply shines. That is detachment. Now, look at indifference. Indifference says, nothing matters. Why should I care? It is a wall built around the heart. It is a defense against pain. But a life without feeling, without care, is not a life at all. The flower does not say, I will not bloom because one day I will wither. No, it blooms anyway. So how do you find the balance? How do you detach without becoming indifferent? The answer is simple. Be present, but do not cling. Care, but do not expect. Give, but do not demand. Love, but do not possess. A bird does not cry when a branch breaks beneath it. Why? Because it trusts its wings. In the same way, when something leaves your life, trust that you will be okay. Trust that you can stand on your own. This is detachment. A person who is indifferent builds walls. A person who is detached builds wings. Indifference is closing your heart. Detachment is opening it, without fear. Do not mistake one for the other. Imagine two people walking in the rain. One curses the sky, frustrated, annoyed. The other simply walks, feeling the cool drops on their skin, smiling at the rhythm of nature. The rain is the same, but the experience is different. One resists, the other flows. The one who resists is attached to comfort, to control, to expectations. The one who flows is detached, not because they do not feel, but because they accept. They understand that life is like the rain. It comes, it goes, and it is never in their control. So ask yourself, are you resisting life or flowing with it? Are you gripping the sand or holding it gently? Are you afraid to feel, or are you embracing each moment fully? Let go, but do not become empty. Be free, but do not be numb. Love, but do not cling. This is the path. This is true detachment. The illusion of control, accepting the flow of life. You try to control everything, don't you? You plan, you predict, you analyze every outcome, hoping that if you do everything right, life will go exactly the way you want. But has it ever worked that way? Has life ever unfolded exactly as you imagined? You hold on to control because you fear the unknown. You think that if you can just manage every detail, nothing will go wrong. But life doesn't work like that. The harder you try to control everything, the more anxious you become. The more you resist, the more life pushes back. Imagine standing in a river. The water flows, always moving, always changing. But instead of flowing with it, you try to stop it. You push against the current, struggling to hold the water in your hands. But no matter how tightly you grip, the water slips through your fingers. This is how life is. The more you try to control it, the more you suffer. Buddha taught that suffering comes from attachment. And one of the biggest attachments we have is the illusion of control. We think we can control what people think of us. We think we can control the future. We even think we can control our emotions. But life is unpredictable. Things happen that we never planned for. People change. Situations shift. The world moves with or without our permission. So what happens when you stop trying to control everything? What happens when you let go? Peace. When you stop trying to force life to go your way, you begin to flow with it. You stop fighting the current. You move with the river, not against it. And suddenly, life becomes lighter. Think about the times in your life when you were truly happy. Were you controlling everything in those moments? Or were you simply present, allowing things to happen as they came? The best moments in life are never planned. They happen when you least expect them, when you are open, when you surrender to the present. But letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean you stop making choices. It simply means you stop trying to force things that are beyond your power. You do your best, and then you trust. A storm comes, and you cannot stop it, but you can find shelter. A relationship ends, and you cannot change it, but you can grow from it. A door closes, and you cannot reopen it, but you can walk forward to the next one. Control is an illusion. The only thing you can truly control is how you respond to life. Everything else is just a passing cloud. There is a Zen story about a farmer. One day, his horse ran away. The villagers said, "How unlucky." The farmer simply said, "Maybe." The next day, the horse returned with 3 wild horses. The villagers said, "How lucky." The farmer said, "Maybe." The farmer's son tried to ride one of the wild horses and broke his leg. The villagers said, "How unlucky." The farmer said, "Maybe." Soon after, soldiers came to recruit young men for war. Because of his broken leg, the farmer's son was not taken. The villagers said, "How lucky." And again, the farmer said, "Maybe." The truth is, we don't know what is good or bad. We don't know what the future holds. Something that seems terrible today might be a blessing tomorrow. Something that seems perfect now might bring pain later. So why waste your energy trying to control what you cannot? Why not trust the process of life? Look around. The trees do not try to control the wind, yet they stand tall. The ocean does not try to control the waves, yet it moves in harmony. The seasons change without resistance. Everything in nature flows. Only the human mind struggles. Only the human mind fears letting go. But when you let go, you become free. You stop obsessing over what others think. You stop stressing over the future. You stop holding on to the past. You simply live. And in that space, where you are not grasping, not resisting, not forcing, you find peace. The peace that was always there, waiting for you to let go. The 4 Noble Truths, Pathway to Inner Peace. Sit with me. Breathe. Listen. There is something I must tell you. A truth as old as time, yet forgotten in the noise of the world. A truth that can free you from the prison of your own mind. Are you ready? Life is suffering. Yes, this is the first truth. No matter who you are, no matter where you live, no matter what you own, suffering follows. You have felt it. The ache of loss, the sting of rejection, the weight of failure, the fear of the unknown. From the moment we are born, we cry. From the moment we love, we fear losing. From the moment we desire, we feel the pain of not having. This is the nature of life. But tell me, why do we suffer? Why does pain follow us like a shadow, never leaving, never resting? The answer is simple. It is because we cling. You want happiness, but you fear sadness. You want success, but you fear failure. You want love, but you fear loneliness. You want control, but life is uncertain, and so you hold on. You grip your desires tightly, believing that if you hold on hard enough, nothing will slip away. But the tighter you hold, the more you suffer. This is the second truth. Suffering is born from attachment. Think of a river. Water flows, always moving, never stopping. If you try to grab it, what happens? It slips through your fingers. But if you simply let it flow, it remains. This is life. You do not own it. You do not control it. You are simply in it, floating, watching. But when you resist, when you try to force things to be a certain way, you create suffering. A man clings to his youth, fearing old age. But time moves forward, and his fear turns to suffering. A woman clings to love, terrified of being alone. But people change, and her fear turns to suffering. A student clings to success, desperate to prove himself. But perfection is an illusion, and his fear turns to suffering. Let me ask you, have you ever been free from desire, even for a moment? A time when you were simply present, not chasing, not worrying, not holding on? That moment, that stillness, that was peace. That was freedom. That was the absence of suffering. This is the third truth. There is a way out. If suffering comes from attachment, then freedom comes from letting go. Imagine you are carrying a heavy bag. Your arms ache, your back hurts, your breath is short. And then, you drop it. What happens? Relief, lightness, freedom. The bag was never a part of you. The weight was never yours to carry. You only suffered because you refused to let go. And so, the path becomes clear. If you wish to end suffering, you must learn to let go. But how? This is the fourth truth. There is a path. The Buddha called it the Noble Eightfold Path. A path of wisdom, of action, of awareness. A way to live, not with attachment, but with understanding. A way to walk, not in fear, but in freedom. A way to exist, not in suffering, but in peace. It begins with seeing the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. It grows through actions that bring no harm, thoughts that bring no regret, a mind that stays present. It deepens through effort, patience, and understanding. It is not a rule. It is not a command. It is simply a way forward, a way out of suffering. And yet, most people do not walk this path. They chase. They cling. They struggle. They say, I will be happy when I have more money. But when money comes, they want more. They say, I will be happy when I find love. But when love comes, they fear losing it. They say, I will be happy when life is perfect. But life is never perfect. And so they run in circles, never stopping, never resting. But you do not have to live this way. You do not have to chase. You do not have to cling. You do not have to suffer. The truth is right in front of you. The door is open.